super important.
Here's one with a booming voice.
I'm emphasizing everything.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance.
Like a page with every word highlighted.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is cutting the Vatican short for members of Congress. Her vacation is ending, calling her colleagues back for a vote on a multi-million-dollar budget resolution. ABC's Andy Fields got the story from Washington.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying the Democratic majority will vote on a budget resolution next week, despite a small group of moderate Democrats threatening to block the vote unless they also vote on that already passed bipartisan infrastructure bill. The Speaker saying it's critical the House passes this budget so they can preserve that 51 Senate vote. It also would approve another $3.5 trillion in education, child, and health care spending that President Biden also wants.
Rescue at sea, 400 miles off the California coast. The Coast Guard airlifting a 23-year-old woman off a sailboat after she drank antifreeze. Officials say it appears to be an accident, but it's not clear exactly how that happened. And something new is coming for Girl Scout cookie season.
Move over, Thin Mints and Do-si-dos. The Girl Scouts of America, many known as brownies, will soon have a brownie-inspired cookie. The new Adventurefuls cookie will join the Girl Scouts national cookie lineup for the 2022 selling season, which runs from January through April. A press release says every bite of Adventurefuls is full of indulgent brownie-inspired flavor, with a combination of chocolatey and caramel, smooth and crispy textures for an incredible taste of adventure in every bite. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
The U.S. dollar is plummeting. Protect your savings against inflation with precious metals. I'm Dinesh D'Souza for Birch Gold Group. Birch Gold Group is who I trust to help you protect your IRA or 401k with gold and silver. With thousands of satisfied customers, an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, get a free information kit by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. Again, text PROTECT to 989898 today.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
This is ONN.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. Flood watches and warnings are up for much of the eastern third of Ohio as the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred sweep through. As COVID cases increase dramatically in Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine has a message to school districts that are just starting up fall classes.
If you're not requiring masks, please, please, please think about this again. Consider doing it for the next few weeks when we know the virus spread level will be very high. You can always go back to no mask once the virus spread is reduced.
In yesterday's report from the State Health Department, there were 220 new hospitalizations and 18 new admissions to intensive care. Ohio now has 1,575 people hospitalized, 466 of them in intensive care. COVID-19 booster shots are in the works for the general public with an expected rollout beginning in late September. One Ohioan, a doctor, is among the first to get a booster shot. Dr. Raphael Pollack is the director of the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center. He has cancer and a compromised immune system.
I know in my case specifically, having checked my antibody levels at 2 different times, that I was no longer reactive a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and that I stood a very good chance of getting some benefit, how much we don't know, by having that third jab.
Dr. Pollack has had cancer for 4 years. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly. Here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next outdoor project with 11% off everything. Transform your worn-out deck in one day with rock-solid deck resurfacer. The one-coat coverage, ultra-thick coating is specially designed for heavily worn decks and patios. Save 11% on all rock-solid deck resurfacers and everything else now at Menards. Good through August 21st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Staying connected is important in today's world, whether it's hearing the news of a new baby in the family or calling work to let your boss know you're running late. phone and internet service keep you connected with your world. At AT&T, we know that some Americans face life every day without the comfort and security of having a phone or internet service. In certain areas, you may be able to reduce your phone or internet bill with a Lifeline discount if you are in a qualifying low-income household. Additional discounts of up to $25 may be available to those living on federally recognized tribal lands where AT&T offers Lifeline. To find out more about Lifeline and other AT&T products and services, call us at 800-288-2020 or go to att.com/lifeline if you have access to the internet.
Lifeline is a government benefit program, and willfully making false statements to obtain this benefit is punishable by fine or imprisonment and could result in termination of Lifeline service. Lifeline enrollment requires certain eligibility documentation and is non-transferable. Limited to 1 discount per household. AT&T services, including Lifeline, are not available in all areas. Other restrictions apply.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, September 25th and 26th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is only $7. Kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and have great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. They have over 450 tables, and the food's pretty good too. They have all these tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com or you can give them a call, 724-948-3571. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. That's the Washington County Gun Show presented by ARH Sports Shop, September 25th and 26th.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Look for mostly cloudy skies with a few showers, a stray thunderstorm, a daytime high of 78, overnight low of 64 degrees under mostly cloudy skies, widely scattered showers. Widely scattered showers to start your day for your Thursday, otherwise clouds and sunshine through the afternoon, with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, old friends.
Hey, what are you doing here? About to go on the air.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Wake up, fairy princesses, wake up!
Guess what day it is?
Get up before I get you up!
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
Woo-hoo! This is Wednesday. She calls it over the hump day.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We ain't one at a time in here. They broadcast me out on the radio. We're mass communicating.
Let Wednesday begin!
Hit it!
Conversations you care about from people you know. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, celebrating the 100 days of summer.
Well, I don't know if we're celebrating today or not. Man, what a steady soaking rain we have coming down right now. It's a verstunk-looking morning, dark, dreary. We're looking at 72 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 71 here at the home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. As I said, a steady soaking rain coming down right now. We have a flash flood watch in effect. It started around 5 o'clock this morning. It stays with us until at least 8 o'clock tonight, unless it's extended. We're looking, Zach says, at maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain during the day today. Could be locally higher than that. Stray thunderstorm could mix in with it all later during the day today. Daytime high around 77, going to be muggy as well. So just a that's an official word, by the way. Kind of day for the day today. Make sure you take an umbrella with you, and even that may not keep the rain off you because it is really coming down good. What are we talking about today? Greenbrier East principal in West Virginia says Governor Justice is the best candidate for the boys basketball coach. We're going to talk with Metro News reporter Brad McElhenney briefly from now to talk about the details of that. Plus, we'll talk more about what the governor's thoughts are on not implementing yet any mask mandates or any other guidelines for back-to-school efforts. The political movement West Virginia Can't Wait has officially begun an effort to unseat Joe Manchin and to reduce the power of what they call the Manchin machine in Mountain State politics. The movement's co-chair and former gubernatorial standard bearer for them, Stephen Smith, will be with us a little bit later on this morning. At least one Ohio County parent, maybe others, is questioning the school system's newly adopted reading program, saying it's too sexually explicit for younger students. The school administration says it will take a second look, and we will take that second look as well this morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Plus, we'll talk about assigned seating at your home. Hotels are planning to get you with fees for what we used to get for free when we went to the hotels, and getting paid for driving your kids to school. Some districts are doing it. I'll tell you why. Plus, I've got some fast food news to pass along to you this morning. So we'll have a little bit of fun and a lot of pretty serious conversation here as the show gets underway and we start working our way through this hump day edition of the program. Biff, you got to give Zach credit. He's been calling the forecast. It's exactly right all week long. Rain every day. Today he said it would be the heavy soaking rain, and man, we got it coming down right now.
Yes, it is, and going to continue through until maybe this afternoon, and might get a break then. But until then, a lot of rain is headed our way.
Yeah, it's just going to be it's coming down really. It's not hard. I mean, it is a hard rain, but it's a really steady soaking rain that's coming down outside right now. So you want to watch out for that. Also, and I don't have the list in front of me, so I can't go over it, but I did notice on the Big 7 this morning, they were saying there's some traffic readjustments to watch out for today. I know at my neck of the woods here in Elm Grove, they're going to start doing some intermittent closures on Route 40 between Kruger Street and the Schilling Bridge in that area, which means that'll be shut down for brief periods of time while they're doing some work I think the work will be done on the interstate above it. So that's just one of several that are out there. So between heavy rain and then some traffic work that's being done, and then mix in with that fact that I think some kids are heading back to school, aren't they, Beth?
Yeah, I think either today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. So you need to start watching out for kids, going back to school again. School buses could be out. I think Teddy has like a preparation couple of days. So I think he goes to school today and tomorrow and Friday, but just a couple of hours, and then full school begins next week. So you got heavy rain coming down, you got some traffic adjustments to watch out for, and you got school buses to watch out for. Take it easy on the roads this morning as things get underway. All right, 7:15, quarter past the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Is Brad with me yet? I'm thinking maybe Brad.
Yes, he is.
He is. Yes, he is. Oh boy, hold on. Just turn the mic off for a second. Oh man. Okay, you can turn it back on. I was cleaning the crud. The early morning crud out. Let me take another sip of coffee out of the Watchdog Morning Show coffee mug. Try and clean that, clean the throat out this morning. Not sure what's happening there. Probably the weather, I guess. With us from West Virginia Metro News, WVMetroNews.com, is our old friend Brad McElhenney. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I was just talking about Breakfast with Biff, which delayed my arrival on air for a minute.
That's all right. What were you two discussing? What were you thinking about? Could you give me a little idea? I might want to share in the fantasy breakfast.
Neither of us has had breakfast yet, and we're interested in that daily food phenomenon. But I've got coffee, so I'm working on that.
Breakfast is people probably know this by now. Breakfast is one of my favorite meals of the day. I mean, I do love it. Yeah, well, one of them, Then there's also lunch and dinner.
Can't play favorites. It's like your kids.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, 7:17 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. And I want to talk about a couple of things with you, Brad. You talked to the principal, I think I've got this right, at Greenbrier East High School this week. The school board is still on hold, I think I'm right, correct if I'm wrong, with a decision about whether or not to appoint Governor Justice as the boys' basketball coach. But the principal felt a need to issue a statement of some kind. Didn't take questions, didn't get an interview necessarily, but at least wanted to say some things. What did he want to say?
Yes, he wanted to say that Jim Justice was, of 6 candidates, the best for the job. Has had the longest tenure of coaching varsity boys basketball, a winning record, both in his past role as the boys basketball coach at the high school up until 2017, and in his ongoing role, one that he's never dropped, as the girls basketball coach. So, I think in some ways this was in reaction to the curiosity by Metro News and by the Gazette-Mail and others, wanting the view of the school and the principal and the superintendent. So a reaction to being asked, but also as foreshadowing to the upcoming decision by the board, which looks most likely to line up next week. I think Wednesday, there's a special meeting of the Board of Education. So here's what he said. Maybe it would also be good to give you and the listeners some insight about how this conversation occurred. I never mind, sure, and you probably don't either, if somebody calls me or emails me and says, "Hey, I've got an angle, I have some information you might be interested in." That is always welcome, and it happens. But we got a call saying, "Well, you might want to call Greenbrier East because the principal's got something to say." Now we know, based on Lacey Pearson of the Gazette-Mail saying so, that the same thing happened to them. And that's okay, but what happened was the Greenbrier East principal, nice guy, I hadn't talked to him before, seems like a gentle soul, Ben Routson, read what wound up being a 4-minute statement, pretty involved, about the coaching search and the ways in which Jim Justice, who we know is the governor, stood out. And he said, Coach Justice excelled in the interview process and was the only applicant with head coaching experience at the high school varsity level. And here's another part of what he said that, I think may be key. Routson stated, by state law, they had an interview team for the coaching search and 6 candidates. The interview team is legally required to not discriminate and always recommend the most qualified applicant for hiring. When considering the applicant pool, he went on to say, it is hard to ignore an applicant with almost 500 high school varsity wins at Greenbrier East High School, which is both boys and girls, consistent postseason play and state tournament appearances and championships, including both the boys and girls basketball teams, including taking both the boys and girls basketball teams to the state tournament in the same year. And I think he's got just sort of a basic point there about, by state law, the interview team is legally required to not discriminate and always recommend the most qualified applicant. But I wonder if that is also a matter of foreshadowing a conflict where this may go. As I count the votes, which is based on insight and smoke signals and some things that have been said. There are 5 members on that board, and obviously they couldn't reach a decision last week. They tabled this and did reach a decision on the rest of their personnel issues. So one of the board members, Rick Parker, has openly stated now multiple times that he will not be a vote for justice. He said that he doesn't see how you could balance these things. Even if you take the governor's role off the table, being the boys' coach and the girls' coach, and he doesn't think that if that's the way you're going about it, that you would be able to give your best to the school and to the athletes. All right, so that's one. And then there are 2 board members who are longtime members and were on the board in 2010 when the same issue came up. Justice was the applicant that year to be the boys' coach. And he got it. It was a 3-2 vote, but the 2 dissenting board members of that year remain on the board. They are Kay Smith and Hazel Reed. I've never been able to reach Kay Smith. I think maybe the Gazette-Mail got her once. But I did connect with Hazel Reed yesterday, and she was very polite to me, but she said, I have no comment, and I will never have a comment to be made publicly on that matter. I tried in conversation to get her to say, well, is it reasonable to think that if you had that vote in 2010, is there anything that would have changed your mind? And she stuck to, I have no comment. But if you add those up, two people with a track record of voting against justice and a newer board member who says, I'm not going to do it, well, you don't have the votes. It's not like the 0 to 100 vote on justice's income tax plan, but you'd wind up with 2 votes for him and 3 against. And so where does it go from then? I don't know, and this is extrapolating, but if you are in a school system and you have a dispute on a hiring matter, you could go to the grievance process. You could. And in that case, the starting level would be the superintendent.
A grievance process involving the governor as a basketball coach. That's just what West Virginia needs.
But on the other hand, it would be a very West Virginia story. If I were, I was telling my wife, in other states, if you were in Florida or Texas, well, Texas, the talk of the day would be something else. But you'd be talking about, well, our governor is angling to run for president, or sometimes even in West Virginia, you'd say our governor is looking ahead for a possible Senate seat. Well, not in West Virginia right now. You'd say our governor is looking ahead to be the boys basketball coach at the local high school. That's what he's angling for. That's West Virginia.
And it's not totally weird in West Virginia either. Every time I bring up an issue that in any other state would be clearly eyebrow-raising conflict of interest, whether it's Rainey on the PSC or the creation of the Public Energy Board, or Marshall and WVU board members, or the basketball. Every time I bring it up, other states it would automatically be, that's a potential conflict or something. In this state, we go, or it just could be West Virginia.
It's
just
the
way we are sometimes.
I had a citizen tweet at me last night. I tweeted sort of a quote from the principal, and of course the angle of that quote was very glowing about justice. And my tweeter, nice guy, responded to me and said, shouldn't the hook here be that the governor shouldn't be spending his time that way? We didn't elect him to be the basketball coach. We elected him to be the governor. And I mean, my response was, well, if the citizens feel that way, they need to make it known, because otherwise he thinks that this is what he ought to be doing.
Brad, I got a couple of questions about this statement from the principal. First of all, does the principal have any ties to the Greenbrier? And I ask that not out of just pure speculation, but I think it's the superintendent, I could be getting this messed up, or the school board president, one of the two, that actually had been and still is maybe working employed by the Greenbrier. So I'm curious, the principal who issued this statement, do we know of any direct ties that person has with the Greenbrier?
Yeah, I'm unaware of any direct ties to the Greenbrier by the principal. The superintendent, who is the one who reached out to Metro News and the Gazette Mail, I'm not sure about others. He's the superintendent, but also is the director of entertainment at the Greenbrier. And then the board president, her husband owns the photography studio that is on property at the Greenbrier. And again, when I say these things, I don't mean to disparage.
It was the superintendent that pointed you towards the principal. Is that right?
That's correct. And then it was a written statement that was read aloud. So I mean,
and then my other question,
the connections in the county.
Exactly. My other question, and I did listen to, you posted, and for folks who want to hear the statement, it's on wvmetronews.com. It's 4 minutes. I didn't give it 4 minutes of my life last night, but I listened to some of it. Here's the question I have. He talks about the interview team and they're required to do certain things and so on. Was the governor actually interviewed? I mean, did he actually go in and sit down like an applicant and answer questions? Do we know?
That's the implication I got from this, and the statement says that he handled the interview the best of all. And I suppose he could point to these achievements on the basketball court that were later mentioned. I mean, the governor's got his own way of talking. People call it folksy. It is very like he's talking to you, the citizen. It can be, of course, some hyperbole. Can be a little hard to make sense of the specifics of what he's saying. When I've heard 1,000 briefings now. I don't know if that's literally true or not, but it may be. And that's that's my impression, is that sometimes we say, what was he saying? What was he talking about? But anyway, he apparently did participate, according to what I read out of the statement, and the search team thinks he came across quite well.
There's just something, I don't know what word I want to use. It just seems awkward. The governor of the state goes in and sits down before some school board members and interviews for a basketball coach's job. I mean, it just seems awkward at the very least. But again, it's West Virginia. I think this was in the Gazette. I don't think it was in Metro News, but I think it was in the Gazette, where Bimbo Coles, the guy who took over after Justice left the boys team, offered some comments, and basically he said, look, this is a full-time job. You can't do this on a part-time basis. I think I'm right. That's a Gazette story. I assume you probably saw it and read it.
I did read it, and it was the Gazette Mail story. And, he mentioned some specifics about what you need to do. I mean, encouraging the student athletes to get to the gym early, to take extra shots, to do their physical conditioning and take it seriously, to be on them about their grades, to make sure both that they're eligible and that they are achieving academically, and just to be there for them emotionally, everything else. And that probably would have been my question if I were one of these coaching search people. I think Justice can point to his winning record in coaching over the years, but he told Metro News reporter Carrie Hudasek that he probably can't make it to all the practices. He's going to have to lean heavily on his assistant coaches and will likely mostly be a game coach. But, there may be times, it seems, if you're the governor, where there may be a conflict there. Or maybe, I suppose you could avoid double scheduling between the girls and the boys, but, are there going to be times where you got to pick?
How about double scheduling between the legislative session and basketball games?
Yeah, I've brought up a few times, when the teacher strike, the first one was going on, he met one afternoon, all afternoon, with the AFT's Christine, oh, help me out here. Anyway, it was, at the time, it was, sorry, Christine.
Oh, I know. She's not the president anymore.
Yeah, and Dale Lee of the WVEA, and then came out and had a press briefing and said, we've reached an agreement in terms. And he had to get out of there to go up the hill in Charleston to GW, George Washington, against Greenbrier East. Had to leave the press briefing. And that left everybody else. The awkward situation was a couple things. Mitch Carmichael, who was president of the Senate at the time, felt broadsided because he had not been involved and didn't, the Senate had to vote on this. And he felt like he'd been out of the loop, fairly or unfairly, no matter what people think of Carmichael in this situation. He did have a co-equal branch of government that he was a leader in, and he felt like, what just happened here? And the teachers union leaders went out and tried to explain it to their members out on the Capitol steps and got received very poorly. And the very next day, the strike started up again. So, but here's the governor announcing that it has been resolved and happened then immediately to get up the hill to a basketball game. And when you say there may be conflicts between the legislative session and basketball season, that's the event that comes to mind for me.
Yeah. I mean, they overlap almost. The basketball season and the legislative session overlap here. It's going to happen. It already happened when he was coaching one team, now two teams. Well, he gives us something to talk about. I'll say that all the time. Let me shift for a real quick second, Brad, to COVID. The governor still, it seems to me he makes 2 points at each of his press conferences. You're there, or you attend many of them at least, or you zoom into many of them. Number one, we're in bad shape. The enemy is coming to get us. Things are bad. People are going to die, and so on and so forth. And then number two, but I don't think there's a need for me to do anything about it from an executive action point of view. That's kind of his approach, and I guess he's still, it's his story and he's sticking to it, right?
Yeah, I struggle with this too. I feel cognitive dissonance every time I come out. And Stephen Adams of the Ogden Papers, one of your regular guests, asked him about that. You know, essentially Adams said, aren't we talking about out of both sides of our mouths? Pretty blunt question. And the governor's answer surprised me. And he said, well, yeah, you got a point there. And from the governor's view, what he's trying to do is express to everybody how seriously to take it. Go get your vaccine. But also, he says he doesn't want to alienate people who feel otherwise, who would push back against government mandates or the requirement to wear a mask, or who are skeptical of the vaccine. And I think if I can follow him, he wants to not alienate that crowd of skeptical people and bring along those that he can by, trying to talk them into it. The issue I think I have is, for one thing, they upped the press conferences to 3 days a week, which I took to mean the governor thought he was going to have something very important to say, that he needs more time. But frankly, I found it to be mostly repetitive, the same message each time. But also, the format is such that he doesn't really emphasize anything. There's never, a plea or, like, listen to me here. Never, sort of an Oval Office message. And so when he sort of splits that difference between trying to warn people to be careful and trying to placate those who would be skeptical, it just feels like it just falls flat.
But again, it's sort of the routine of every press conference that I've been able to read it. He first of all goes on a bit of a diatribe about, he uses very dire words. The enemy is coming. I've looked the enemy in the eye. We're in bad shape. It's, I think the last press conference he said, people are going to die. And then he turns around and says, but I'm not going to do anything about it. It just seems very weird. A group of parents are threatening a lawsuit because he's not only not imposing mandates, but not even offering some consistent guidelines to the school systems, right?
Yeah, this is, the lawyer is Sam Petzonk, who you may remember ran as the Democratic candidate for Attorney General this past cycle. But he's representing parents in Cabell County, and they're not arguing that there ought to be a mass mandate or some blunt force action. But their argument boils down to, when you leave every county to make their own decisions, but you don't provide some set of standards or some guidelines or something that they could go by, you wind up with, just something different for every county. They're just on their own. And Petzonk and his group of parents say, it's even different from Cabell County, where they're located, to Wayne County, which is right next door. That they say that really the state needs at least, as much as we all debated the map last year, is the map correct? Is it tailored so that it achieves particular results? At least the map was something that everybody in the state could go by. And now the map exists, but nobody's expected to go by it. So the question is, what do you go by? Is it just local political will, or what is it?
Yeah, it's and I found it fascinating. I'm way behind time, but I found it fascinating that the governor's attorney, Brian Abraham, took some time in his offering his public response, not a legal response, but his public response to this threat of a lawsuit, to kind of lambaste Petzonk, saying that, what do you know about medicine? What do you know about public health? You're an attorney with political ambitions. I thought that was a little, again, I use the word awkward. It was a little awkward, I thought, for the governor's attorney to take that approach.
I was a little surprised by it, and it seemed kind of personal. And, you know, Petsonk did run for Attorney General, but I have not taken him really to be somebody who is usually politically minded. You know, I've known him as mostly a labor attorney, and he has dealt with black lung and healthcare issues for labor organizations, has dealt with funding issues in Fayette County schools, so that gives him, you know, some background in the area of schools. So I was sort of surprised to see the sort of personal dig about political ambitions, but that's the way they decided to go.
Yeah. All right, sir. Appreciate your early morning time today. Thanks very much. Have a good day, and we will probably hear from you, I assume, with Hoppy Kirchwell today on Statewide Talk Line, and we'll maybe be talking again the next few days. Who knows? And then the vote for the governor's coaching position is next week. That's at least what it's set for. Am I right about that?
Wednesday is my understanding, but I don't really know what time yet or what format.
A week from today, though, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Brad. Thank you very much. Yes, exactly.
Thanks,
I'll
Howard.
circle it on my calendar in red. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Talk to you soon. Brad McElhenney from Metro News this morning. So the governor is the best candidate for the job for the boys basketball coach at Greenbrier East, boys coach at Greenbrier East. Only in West Virginia. Seriously, only in West Virginia. All right, I'm dramatically behind time. Biff is yelling at me in my ear. Well, he's not, but I know that in his mind he is. Let's get a quick news update here. Billy's got sports, and then we'll bring in Zach, and we'll take care of the weather forecast, which is a rainy, dreary, crappy forecast. All that's coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News. I'm Chris Lawrence. West Virginia feeling the impact of Tropical Storm Fred. Heavy rain moving north this morning. Much of the state under a flash flood watch. And the National Weather Service has issued some flash flood warnings. Parts of Cabell, Lincoln, Mason, Putnam, and Wayne County through mid-morning. Meteorologist Megan Keebler predicting 2 to 4 inches of rain for the mountain counties and 1 to 2 inches in the west along the Ohio River by the time it's over.
We should start to see that quickly move over into the New England area and help us dry out a bit.
Forecasters say watch for flooding of small creeks and streams, and some roads and underpasses could have, and poor drainage areas could be flooded as well. Parents in Cabell County threatening to sue the state for failing to provide clear guidance when it comes to COVID-19 safety protocol in school. Attorney Sam Petsonk represents those parents and says there needs to be a uniform policy here.
We don't have a uniform requirement for exposure control planning in every county. That is, every county is left to its own devices to determine what is essentially a medical and scientific judgment about appropriate public health protections in this situation.
Governor Jim Justice has left that. Regarding masks and social distancing, the governor's chief of staff, Brian Abraham, telling the group that the governor will continue to rely on his experts to advise him. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. The principal at Greenbrier East High School says after conducting a search for the next boys basketball coach, it's clear that Governor Jim Justice is the best candidate for the job. Principal Ben Rouston says Justice stood out because of the success of coaching the girls team.
When considering the applicant pool, it is hard to ignore an applicant with almost 500 high school varsity wins at Greenbrier East High School, consistent postseason play, and state tournament appearances and championships.
And the board will make a final decision Monday. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
In Los Angeles, the Dodgers once again beat the Pirates. 4-3 was the final. Let's hear from Pirate manager Derek Shelton.
You know, you look at Reynolds at bats all night, and he smokes some balls, and we don't get anything for it. He bat off Knable with, guys at first and second. He hits the ball really hard. Sometimes that's just how baseball goes, and tonight it went their way. They put the ball in play.
At 42-78, Pittsburgh has lost 4 in a row, 14 of their last 16 games. And how about this stat? The Dodgers have won 15 in a row over the Pirates. J.T. Brubaker, 4-12 on the year, will be on the mound tonight in Game 3 of a 3-game series. A Steeler note, wide receiver Chase Claypool suffered a lower body injury in practice Tuesday. Injury is not considered serious. And to no one's surprise, in Jacksonville, tight end Tim Tebow was released. Here's a hockey note for you. In 22-23, teams in the National Hockey League can sell marketing space on their uniforms. Yep, the players' uniforms will have ads. Remember, their helmets already has some ads. Another way of making money for the owners in all sports. And now the National Hockey League has said yes for teams to sell marketing space on their uniforms. Stay tuned. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
Hi, Toppy Kirchville. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock for Talkline. We'll talk about the big stories affecting us in West Virginia, top political figures, sports personalities, sometimes just plain folks offering their opinions on what's happening today. 10 till noon, right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Save big money with 11% off everything now at Menards, your home improvement store. The 6-inch new construction recessed housing makes installing recessed lights safe and simple. It features airtight construction with built-in push-in connectors for easy wiring. All Lithonia lighting, utility, recessed housings, and trims are 11% off now at Menards. Good through August 21st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi, host of the CityNet Statewide Sports Line right here on Metro News. Join the Senator, Brad Howe, Coach Greg Hunter, and myself as we discuss the day's biggest sports stories, talking with coaches, former players, and sports writers from all over the state and across the nation, bringing you the latest from the high schools, colleges, and the pro game. So don't miss the CityNet Statewide Sports Line weeknights at 6:06 here on the Metro News Radio Network and streaming live at WVMetronews.com.
If you miss a part of the show or want to listen again, you can find conversations, interviews, and rants on our podcasts at Apple Podcasts or on WatchdogNetwork.com. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Well, it's a rainy morning outside, which is not to be unexpected since Zach Petty has been telling us that for the last several days. But boy, Zach, it's a good, steady, soaking rain. At least it is here at my home studios. I guess that's going to be the way of the day all day today, right?
For at least the morning hours, I do expect it to stay that way. Rain-filled, soggy, dreary. Not a good way to start off the school year for a lot of kiddos in the Ohio Valley today, that's for sure.
I was mentioning people need to be careful. We've got rain coming down. We've got some traffic changes, a couple of places where traffic is readjusted. You guys mentioned that on your morning newscast, and then school buses are out, so everybody needs to be careful when driving this morning because this could be a little dicey driving morning because of all of those things combined together.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different factors. I agree. Like what you said, we just got to stay attentive, stay alert, and of course stay weather aware. It's just because we are still in that flash flood watch issued by the National Weather Service because we've had a decent bit of rain over the last couple of days, so the grounds are saturated. Not so much the river, but the small creeks and streams are starting to flow a bit more prominent, a bit more noticeable, and with the additional rainfall today, we could see some potential flooding on the roadways, side streets, and back country roads. So just take it easy if you do encounter flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. It's not worth the risk trying to drive through. Even if you have a souped-up pickup truck, you still never know what's at that bottom of the little pool of water that you see. It could be a lot deeper than you're expected, and your car can get swept away. I have to see if I can find the statistics as to how high the water levels need to be. I think it's, just off the top, I think it's 6 to 8 inches of water, standing water on roads that can sweep vehicles down wherever the water's traveling. So it's definitely nothing to take lightly.
People don't understand the power of water.
Really? Yep.
You have a big truck. You think, I've got a big truck. Don't worry about little puddle, big truck, I'll win. Water wins almost every time. Water wins almost every time.
Especially if anyone has ever been to Niagara Falls, and you just see how fast. And again, it's a very far comparison, but still, just how fast that water rushes over the falls itself, and how much power is generated from just water moving over a simple generator and turbine to create electricity and power. But still, that kind of stuff can still technically happen here at the immediate Ohio Valley. So something not to take lightly. I definitely agree how people underestimate the power of water.
Now, it's a steady soaking rain right now. Will we get any severe weather as part of it? Will we get thunder, lightning coming in at any point, or is it just going to be this just steady soaking rain?
Right, yeah. I don't expect to see anything in terms of severe weather where there could be a stray rumble of thunder possible, but it's all the stratiform rain. Most of the severe weather is actually going to stay to our south and east. There were numerous tornado warnings issued for areas of the Carolinas. Both north and south got hit pretty good with a lot more instability. Upper level air pattern looks okay. I'm not too concerned about that. The most concerned that I am is the potential for some flash flooding just because of the excessive rainfall that we've had, that we will be seeing today, as well as what we had for this past work week, which has been rather rain plagued. So that's my biggest concern. But good news, Howard. Most of the rain should start to taper off past lunch, if not early afternoon, and continuing to diminish closer to dinner, if not early evening. We'll go through a little bit of a dry spell to begin Thursday morning before rain showers pick back up in the afternoon, evening tomorrow.
But we do have more rain coming tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, the positive note is it looks to be scattered in nature. It doesn't look like everyone could see rain, but the potential that we see some pop-up showers and isolated thunderstorm is not out of the question. And unfortunately, that's going to be the trend as we head into Friday, Saturday, even into the next work week. It looks like we'll continue on with the active weather pattern. Pretty muggy conditions will be sticking around. Dew point temperatures will stay pretty high and uncomfortable. Unfortunately, for the foreseeable future, even into the next week, I was reading the National Weather Service forecast discussion, and they even said the muggy, sticky air is here to stay and no one wants it. And I couldn't agree more with that statement.
What we're getting is, even though Fred is just a tropical storm, we're getting sort of the aftermath of that coming through the area, right?
Yeah, right now this is all thanks to the remnants of post-tropical storm Fred. Most of this should be pushed out of our hair as we head through the afternoon and evening hours, with most of this coming to a close by dinner time, hopefully. And hopefully we can stay out of most of the heavier bands. As of now, it's continuing to rain pretty hard west of I-77. Looks like over towards Nelsonville and Athens, Ohio. They're actually seeing flash flood warnings as of right now, but still everyone else is in a flash flood watch, meaning the ingredients are there for flooding to occur. And whenever a warning takes place, that means we're seeing flooding conditions present, and that's when you really need to take action. But a watch, plan it out, have a plan in place whenever a warning happens. Make sure you execute that plan. Best way to describe and decipher the two.
All right, Zach, appreciate the forecast. Well, again, I appreciate the fact you've given us the forecast. I don't really appreciate the forecast, if you understand what I'm saying. But thanks for your help this morning, and you'll keep an eye on things, and if anything critical we need to know, you'll let people know. Folks can always check it out at the Storm Tracker 7 app as well, which I think is a very smart thing for most folks to have on their phone or their tablet, because it's a great way just to quickly check in what's happening out there in the weather world. If they don't check in with us or with WTRF TV.
Right, I got my eyes on the skies and the ground today for the flooding potential.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, Zach, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend.
Yep, have a good Wednesday, everyone.
You too. Zach Penny from the Big 7, WTRF TV. So it's a steady soaking rain coming down right now. Last I checked, 72 at the airport. 71 here at my home studio, 71 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. A little more COVID conversation and maybe some talk about some questions being raised about a reading program in the Ohio County schools. I don't have the details too much of this, but I want to kind of set the table, put it in your brain, and we may talk more about it as the next few days go on if I can find out more info. So that's some of what's coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8 before the hour.
For all of your IT needs, visit omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic.
willfully making false statements to obtain this benefit is punishable by fine or imprisonment and could result in termination of Lifeline service. Lifeline enrollment requires certain eligibility documentation and is non-transferable. Limited to 1 discount per household. AT&T services, including Lifeline, are not available in all areas. Other restrictions apply.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content, and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Who wants craft beer? Saturday, August 21st, the Mountaineer Brewfest is back at Wheeling Heritage Port, showcasing craft beers from West Virginia's finest brewers. With great food, live entertainment, and many more craft beer selections in our beer garden, it's a wild and wonderful time, and you don't want to miss out. Proceeds benefit a Special Wish Foundation. Get your tickets now at MountaineerBrewfest.com. Brought to you by Wheeling Island Hotel, Casino, Racetrack, and the UPS Store.
You can watch a video cast of our show every morning on Facebook Live or on our website. Plus, check archives of all of our videos on the Watchdog YouTube channel. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
If you are watching the video cast on Facebook Live, you can watch it on my own Facebook page or on the Watchdogs Facebook page. I always do I do ask you to like it and share it. Hit the like button and hit the share button. Share it to your timeline, to your news feed. If you're part of any news groups that you think this conversation may be of value, you can put it in their news groups. Don't throw it in the Food Fanatics group or something, even though we eat a lot of food on this show. But, because I get irritated when I look at my news groups and there's somebody has shared something that isn't appropriate. So send us to your news groups that where news and conversation is being discussed, but not the non-newsy stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Remember, you can always catch us on our YouTube channel. We're archived on our YouTube channel, the Watchdog YouTube channel, and you can always watch us at watchdognetwork.com. Just go straight to the website, and you can watch us there. A couple of minutes away from the top of the hour, I'm going to try and get more info on this. I just really want to set the table for this. Intel had a story yesterday. Ohio County schools are hearing some concerns about a new reading curriculum they've got. The reading curriculum is called Wit and Wisdom. And apparently it's a variety of reading opportunities, books, lectures, letters, all kinds of reading material that is available for teachers to use at their discretion with their students to help with reading and so on. One parent apparently showed up concerned about the sexually explicit nature of at least one of the books. And my problem here is, with no disrespect to Jocelyn who wrote the story or the newspaper, I don't have enough information to know what the real concerns are. I get the issue that this one parent said that she feels that the sexual component is too explicit for 13 and 14-year-olds. I understand that. That's very possible. Age appropriateness does come into play. On the other hand, I heard from some other folks who say that the concerns that some parents are raising really seem to be more around the politics of the books, that they're talking about, slavery, they're talking about Native Americans and the way Americans handled it. And some of this may revolve around the ongoing debate that we're trying to rewrite history, when in point of fact, all that's being done is talking about history. I don't know enough about it. I wanted to put it on the table, let you know it's out there. I'm going to try and track down some more information about it as the next couple of days go on, and hopefully bring you some more informed info. But I thought I'd at least put it out in front of you. Well, it's 8 o'clock. We'll head to ABC. They cover the world next here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Shot. It's not all that surprising to.
All right, Biff, should be Stephen Smith at 8:10. You know what I say should be. Did you figure out what the problem was with Audacity yesterday? When I dialed in, there's a whole bunch of, I guess they're shows, or there's a lot of Audacity projects sitting at the bottom of the screen. Looks like they haven't been saved, or if they were saved, they haven't been, clicked off. I didn't know if that was part of the problem or not. Did you try to save the one from yesterday? Because I didn't get it in my Dropbox, which could easily be a Dropbox problem. That's why I'm trying to figure it out. Okay. Well, when you get around to saving today, see if you can save yesterday's too, and let me know. And then when I'm coming down today, when I do, I'll see what else is sitting on that screen. I didn't want to mess with it remotely because I'm afraid I'll do something wrong, So I looked at it, but I didn't do anything with it. But okay, that's what I just wondered. Everything else going okay? Okay, doke. Let me know when Steven's there. Thanks.